Don't become angry, and make sure you work 3 times harder than everyone else. Does this sound familiar? These are just one of the cliches you may hear before becoming a young black professional. You have to stay focused and be better than everyone else just to obtain that position. But what comes with being a young black professional? Do the pros outweigh the cons? I want to dive into all of this and get a better understanding of our experiences and what the future looks like. This is About My Issue.
I forgot the words. Yeah. We'll be going up. We'll be going up. We'll be going what's happening? Good to see you. Appreciate you. Being worried.
In the words of Stevie Wonder, I am overjoyed that you all are here.
Man, there's no way we missed this conversation.
I appreciate that, bro. Well, let me tell you this. Y'all gonna love what I want to dive into today.
And what would that be?
Being a young black professional.
Man, that's a topic we all know too well.
Don't we? So let's dive right into it then.
Let's get it.
What influenced y'all to go into corporate America? Because for me, I loved watching shows growing up that just show black people, black men and women in a positive light. Like I watched Fresh Prince, I watched The Cosby Show, I watched the movie Boomerang. Like I was so inspired by all of that. You know what I mean? And then also watching my mom as well, her going to work with me. I mean, me taking, my bad. She was taking me to work with her. And I was seeing the way that she conducted business. So I really enjoyed that. But what about y'all? Like, Serena, how you feel about that?
So for me, I took a different approach. I saw my mom go to work. I went to Take Your Child to Work Day, and I had on this cute little tweed outfit, little Hillary Banks vibes.
Oh, okay.
But I actually went into nonprofit. And so my entire career, went to college, went to grad school. For me, my entire career has been in nonprofit. And though we have a lot of interactions with corporate professionals, we handle ourselves like a business. So even though we're a 501c3, we still do a lot of business things and how we dress. So took a different spin on being a corporate professional, if you will.
Okay. What about some of y'all others? Like, what influenced y'all? Squeeze, I see you ready to answer.
I grew up, seeing my mom, in and out of cubicles, if you will. It was okay to me. I didn't really get inspired by it. I think I was a lot like you, where I just took a different spin on the aspect of business, right? So I'm in film, I'm in music, and a lot of that is artistic, but what makes it move is the business. And you have to rub shoulders and, kiss babies and make impressions on the right people to get your projects going in the right direction.
Right. Sure, I agree. Naj, what about you, Ron?
Well, for me, it's all about money. Growing up, we didn't have a lot of it. And, I was like, let's go into corporate. I want a job to where I can make big money, but do as little as possible. So that's why I'm going into technology.
No, I feel you, bro. I feel yeah. Well, let me ask this. Is what y'all do now what y'all wanted to do once y'all graduated from high school or college? Because for me, it's a bit different. Like all the way through middle school, high school, all I wanted to do was to be like a sportscaster. Like I loved ESPN, like Sports Center, early 2000s, seeing Stuart Scott, John Saunders, may they rest in peace. Like those guys were so inspired to me. But once I graduated from college, I wasn't really able to get a job as easy in CNN because it was just like, you got to start in a small market first, and then your pay gonna be little. And I'm like, wait a minute, I went to four years of college for this? Like, no, this ain't it. But luckily, my mom was able to guide me and say, you got a journalism degree. That's the key to getting so many other jobs in communications. You know what I mean? And so I ended up starting out probably on the retail side with the company and just started doing communications from there. What about some of y'all? Y'all had the same plan? Like,
I think like anybody, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, be a doctor, an attorney, a firefighter. When I was in high school, I spent part of my formative years in Los Angeles. So just seeing like just different people, I wanted to be a newscaster. So I wanted to like report the weather, sit at the desk, breaking news.
I can see that.
Y'all can see that for me.
yeah.
Well, when they were like, when I went to college, and they were like, well, you got to not only get a mass comm degree, you're likely probably going to have to stay another year. And I don't know about y'all, but it was a really, especially like growing up, not, you know, being super affluent or having a whole lot of money.
Right.
You're not thinking, oh, I've got the luxury of 5 years,
Right.
6 years. So I was like, nah, 4 years, and I'm just going to do what is easy for me. So, you know, social work and working with kids and being in the nonprofit space was just an easy fit for me. So I wouldn't say it was necessarily something I wanted to do, but that just was easy, and I could get in and out of college in 4 years.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Chad, thank you for meeting me today, man. I greatly appreciate it.
The pleasure's all mine. I really appreciate you reaching out.
Absolutely, man. So let me ask this: what was it like for you when you first entered the corporate world?
So I was really blessed from the standpoint of I did internships before I jumped in full time. And even before my internship, I had an amazing advisor that made sure that we knew what we were getting into. And I say we, the whole accounting department.
Okay. So what exactly is that? Like what you getting into?
Yeah, so when we had job fairs at the school, he made us research every company and present to the whole class every company. So we knew everybody that was coming. We knew their business. We knew, you know, what industries they worked in. We did etiquette dinners. You know, he just made sure we were really prepared. Yeah. So when we went into the interview or just met people, we knew exactly what was going on. And then when I walked into the corporate world, it was a much easier transition because I knew the culture.
I was just about to ask you, do you feel like it was easier to transition to the corporate world, maybe opposed to now for younger people?
You know, I would say it's probably easier now. So 10, 12 years ago when I first got into corporate, I actually still had dreads, right?
Oh, wow.
And my advisor encouraged me to try cutting off my dreads because I would get interviews, but I never got jobs. As soon as I cut off my dreads, right, I could get in. And he said, Chad, you know, I understand that that's who you are. He was like, but the thing about the corporate world is every corporate company has its own culture. And he's like, sometimes you just got to get in the door. And he's like, once you get in the door, do well, be the amazing person that you are, and you can be part of the changing the corporate world. And so that was kind of my thoughts going into it. It was like, I'm going to make a sacrifice now. I'm going to get in the door. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be the best person I can be where they can't say no. And then when I get to the top, I'm going to make it easier for the people below me. So as you see now, corporate policies, they're so much more open. They want you to be yourself when you come in. It wasn't necessarily that easy when I walked in. So I think that makes it a little bit easier.
So you finna start growing your locks back out?
I probably will not grow out my locks anytime soon, but you know, I definitely missed them for sure.
Okay, I feel you. Let me ask you this: what advice would you give to young Black professionals? Not necessarily in a certain industry, but with anything when it comes to their career and them want to, you know, enter corporate America.
Yeah, so I tell all the kids I work with and mentor, you need 3 things, right, to be successful. You need an advisor, right? You need a mentor, and you need a friend or peers, right? So an advisor is someone who has the expertise that's already done what you want to do. You can go to them with very specific questions about what they did, right? You need a mentor. A mentor is a person that you kind of look up to, you connect with. They're a little bit more available for you.
You had one of those.
Oh yeah, multiple.
He was like they were way older than you, or just like a little bit?
Both, right? So I had mentors that had just gotten this a year or two ahead of me. I had mentors that's been senior managers and upper. But find somebody at every different level because everyone's going to give you a different experience. Yeah. And then the friend or peers, I mean, it can get lonely, right? Doing everything, trying to take on the world. You want to have a group of people or a tribe, right? That you can look back and share your experiences with, and they actually understand what you're going through, right? Because a lot of my family had not done anything accounting related, and me going to them talking to them about gap stuff is like a waste of time, right? Or even some of my friends, but some of my peers, right? We could talk and complain, and it really connected. So I really enjoyed that.
Man, let me ask y'all this: did y'all have parents that influenced y'all decision?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, because I know for mine, like my mom always pushed education for me because she was just like, look, you my son. I can't see you just doing something like average, you know what I mean? And that's not to disrespect somebody who, you know what I'm saying, does it. I'm just saying for me, she wanted to push me because that's what she did. Like she graduated from the top of her class in high school, college, climbed the corporate ladder or whatnot. So she always pushed me to want more, you know what I mean? But she was very like supportive. It's not like she was strict in a sense of you have to be this like some parents are, because I feel like at times they put their own dreams and goals on their kids, and that can get really messy. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what about y'all? Did y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Well, my mom, she's, very similar in that aspect. She got a lot of schooling knocked out the way, masters, and she pushed education on me. I went to school for mechanical engineering.
Okay.
And I was really good with numbers.
Do my taxes.
It's funny because when my mom was in college, earning her master's, I was doing her stats for her, but I hadn't even reached high school yet. So she pushed me to shit that involved numbers, but I'm creative.
Okay, okay, creative.
So I'm like, out of high school, I went to Virginia State. Shout out to the HBCUs, and the more and more I went to class, the more and more I realized this isn't really what I want to do. I really only went to play football.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what position?
Corner.
Okay. Cool. Lock him down.
Oh yeah, every time.
I'm with you.
So my roommate at the time, he was a really gifted artist. He had already said no to like a few deals, and we had just got to creating, and I learned a lot from him. And I built my confidence in college, just not only as an artist, but also a black man. Coming from Boston, Massachusetts, there's a lot of white influence, especially at the school that I went to, being predominantly white. Going to an HBCU was like, that full circle moment that I needed for my career going forward. But after high school, my dad actually during high school brought me to the studio for the first time.
Okay.
And I recorded my first 2 songs, and I was like, damn.
Nice.
This is a high I never want to come down from. So that influenced my career path today.
Okay. Brittany, I see you a little quiet over here. I need
I'm
you
just
to
listening. Taking notes.
She feeling that drink.
She feeling it. Yeah. What about your parents? Did it influence what you were thinking?
Well, for sure, my parents always were a big influence on my life, and they're business owners, been entrepreneurs their whole life. They used to own a check cashing business, so I used to work in there with them at a young age.
Right on.
10, 11, learn how to cash checks, deal with customers.
So you know how to scam, is what you said.
No.
Okay.
I know how to get business done. Let's say that.
I hear you. Let me ask you this, because I know it's definitely different from my generation, but yours. Sometimes we may look at college as a scam, right? Because some people may have graduated, got this degree, and are, working at a grocery store and not even using their degree. What's your personal opinion, or how would you say you felt when you graduated from college? Did you feel like it was a scam, or did you feel like, I think I should have done this, looking back on it?
College was the best experience I've ever had. I would say that wholeheartedly, so much. I'm actually a trustee at my school. So I truly believe in the college experience and that everyone can benefit from it. And I think it depends on how you go into it. If you walk into college knowing that I need to make connections, get to know people, learn a skill that can get me paid, it can be very valuable. If you walk in there because somebody made you go, you might not get what you need out of it. So I think it comes to mindset, and part of that could be like for me, I wasn't first generation, but one of my brothers went to college, but my brother's a lot older, so I didn't get any experience. But being able to talk about that and having someone that can tell you like, hey, it's not necessarily about the party, or you're gonna have fun. I tell all my little cousins, you're gonna have fun no matter what. But can you have fun and then walk away and say I'm gonna get paid afterwards? Right. I'm gonna be happy with the career path that I'm gonna have opportunities with.
Gotcha.
Right? It's the mindset thing.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I know you said you were a trustee at your school. Like, I'm not sure at a certain point in time, but do you feel like obligated to help the next generation behind you? Because sometimes I feel like us, and especially in our community, we get a certain position and start making a certain amount of money and be like, well, hell, they're going to have to figure it out just like I did. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You got to get in where you fit in. If I could do it, you could do it. Right. But what's your personal take on that?
I have a personal obligation to make sure that more people like me have more opportunities and it's easier. Yeah. Right? So like being a trustee was one of the most amazing calls I ever had. It came out of the blue. But I think as you move up, especially as a black person, right? to see more people like you, you have to open the doors, right? Because if only one of us does it, it's only one more door. But if multiple of us, more doors get open. Yeah. And I think the other piece that we also have to remember, as doors open, there's doors behind them being closed. So if we don't continue doing the work that got us here, there's going to be less opportunity. So for me, it's like my personal vendetta. It's my personal mission to make sure that I help create more doors and open more doors for more people.
For sure. That sounds great, man. I'm glad to hear you say that. But I probably have one last question for you, and I don't know if you have one or not, but sometimes people do as they reach certain age milestones. If there's one regret you say you might have for your career, what would it be?
I regret not betting on myself sooner, right? And I say that from the standpoint of when I went to college, I knew I wanted to help people. I wanted to be a therapist. I wanted to study psychology. I ended up with an accounting degree because I liked money. Right? I did taxes first because I wanted to help people. I switched over to auditing because I liked the career path to travel and things like that more. But what I found was that it wasn't fulfilling, right? What I enjoyed was talking to people, connecting with people. And so when I had the opportunity to become a financial advisor and literally get paid to help people make better financial decisions, my whole world changed, right? It gave me the flexibility that I wanted. It gave me the income to provide that I wanted. It gave me the opportunities to help other people, right? Like I do so much stuff, but this would have never happened if I never bet on myself sooner. So that's probably one of my biggest regrets, is just not betting on myself sooner.
I guess the next thing I want to focus on, man, are what are some of the battles that y'all feel like y'all face as a young black professional? Because for me, sometimes I feel like my age can maybe get in the way. And I don't necessarily even share it with someone, but of course you start talking about stuff like, I graduated from college here and I did this and stuff like that. People will look at you a certain way and be like, so you know what I'm saying, you have this senior position, but you're not even in your 30s yet. Like, what's going on? And so in certain business meetings, it's like microaggression sometimes. I've been in business meetings and heard, my coworkers be like, Shawn, if you know how to do that, I can, cool. But if not, I can help you with that. Now, to me, I don't like the way that sounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could just say, Shawn, you can do this, and then follow up in an email or pull me to the side to say that. Right. So I'm saying I have the experience, and then sometimes it's wanting to just want more for a company. I remember when I got to a certain company, like, I'm looking around from like our email list and the different applications we use and names, and I feel like I'm the only black man there. But I'm like, there's no way. It's like over 100 plus employees at this company. There's no way I'm the only black man here. But I talked with one of my coworkers, and I'm like, how does everybody know my name already? Like, what's going on? Right. And I'm like, I know I'm cute, but like, how does everyone know me? And she was like, yeah, you are the only black man employees. Like, it's over 150 plus. So it was an automatic like target on my back, even like walking into the office or being in business meetings and stuff like that. So I say, like, as a young black professional, I wanted more. So I was calling whoever was on the D&I team and being like, look, I want to see some changes because this makes no sense. Right. You know what I mean? Because when we're having casual conversations, you can talk about you love Kendrick Lamar's new album or whatnot, but you're in the office and it's only me. So where's the disconnect? You know what I mean? Right. But that's just my experience. What about, some of y'all?
Let me tell you. So, okay. I've worked at an all-black agency. I've worked with, obviously, predominantly white organizations, and it's like you're code switching because you got to feel like in an all-black organization, you got to fit. So obviously, listening to how I sound, I grew up having to talk proper.
And being out in Cali, and yeah, for sure.
And so getting a lot of, will you talk white, or like kind of looking like, are you really down? And then going into an all-white or predominantly white organization where it's a sprinkle of us. Like, we just had a large meeting, like statewide meeting on Thursday, and a coworker and I, we were talking, and we were like,
just polka dots, right?
Just a little here, a little there, a little everywhere. and feeling like, okay, can I be myself? Can I, talk how, I would outside of work? So I think a lot of what I'm experiencing from just the jump has been, okay, how do I present myself here? Mm-hmm. Can I fully be authentic? And if I am authentic, am I going to all of a sudden, is that going to be like the hot, spicy thing to do? Oh, Serena said this. So now, she's got to, now it's cool. So I'm going to talk like this because I've gotten that a lot. So I think for me, it's been code switching, which has been a little challenge.
Yeah, man. I guess I also wonder, do you all feel obligated to help the generation behind you as being a young black professional? Because as for me, I do, because like I said, people I don't even know, not even just your ancestors, people you're related to, but people who had to go through certain struggles just for us to be able to apply to certain jobs or get into college. I feel obligated for them, but also the generation behind us. I think back to this certain job that I was talking about, that I was the only black man at the company because I joined the DE&I team, but to a certain degree, it just seemed fake to me. You know what I mean? Because it's like, we're not just going to the MLK Museum and now it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not it. Or they'd be like, do you feel like we should, go to This Is It? And, I do not, I don't even eat soul food like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, cut that out. You know what I'm saying?
This is not it.
Right, but I'm saying, I wanted to make an actual change, man. Let's go to these college fairs and get to know a Spelman and Morehouse and Clark Atlanta and stuff like that, and see certain students we can bring in to let them know, like, hey, this is a job you can have in communications. Absolutely. You don't necessarily have to go be a reporter or anchor and put in 5 to 10 years and stuff like that. The only unfortunate part about that is they had layoffs because we lost a certain account. Mm. And so I wasn't able to really make real change that I wanted to at that company. But I just hope that if they did land on their feet after layoffs, their mindsets about hiring people and young black men can be like, maybe we should be more open to this because Shawn was good when he was here. And so they can get along with us. They can do their work in a timely fashion and be respectful to others and be supportive of others. You know what I mean? Absolutely. But what are y'all? I mean, that's just my take, though.
Well, honestly, yeah. So for me, I cut hair at Morehouse. And what I do there is when I cut hair, I'm talking to the individual. Right? I'm speaking from my perspective. Like, hey, I don't have to be there.
Right,
I don't
at all.
have to,
right.
Like, I can do a whole bunch of other shit. But I'm choosing to be there and be intentional about my time because they're the future, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm talking to these kids like, what do you really want to do? I'm not your parent, so you don't have to lie to me. You don't have to, make me feel good about you being in college. Like, what are you here for? What are you trying to achieve? And just from my experiences and the people that I know, I can help. Like, hey, well, if you're trying to do this, then yeah, college is great. You know what I mean? Like, you might even want to look into what is it?
Associate's degree? Or?
No, the second, like a focus in this study.
Oh, right. Something else.
Minor.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
got you.
Just helping guide from my perspective, not giving them the answers, but also just assisting them in their path to adulthood. But I definitely think it's important to help guide the youth in any capacity.
Absolutely, bro.
I agree.
What about you?
I think as long as, to your point, you're just having a real conversation with them. I know sometimes if, I'll mention that I have this professional license, I have this degree, I have that degree, that the expectation is that's what I think everybody should have. Yeah. But there is not one path to whatever it is you're trying to do.
That's a fact.
And I think, yes, I feel obligated, but also I'm not going to push it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. It's just been times, man, and sometimes like I've had to learn, in being a young black professional, it's just patience. Yeah. That's a big thing. I remember, I understand, I get it, bro, but I just, in one position that I had, right, it was like I was a communications manager for like a staffing company. And Nigel, you can attest to this. Things were really bad. You know what I mean? Like, we were either losing accounts left and right, or we were losing employees because people were just like coming out of a pandemic, so they needed money. You know what I'm saying? So working for $10 an hour, they weren't going for that. You see what I'm saying? And so when I came in as a comms manager, I'm sitting there with the CEO, and I'm like, look, You can put that $10, $11 out if you want to, but don't be surprised when you don't see no people, you know what I'm saying, signing up. Like, people just figure out. One thing that I can say to this other generation behind us, they figure it out. You know what I mean? Right. Whatever it is, they gonna try and figure it out. I mean, we figured it out too, but they definitely gonna try and figure it out. Absolutely. Right? And so at a certain point, we got to be at odds because she was like, I feel like you're not really trying to get people hired and do this. And I'm like,
but yo, you put $10 out there.
Bitch, you want me to be Houdini and just create some magic and fix everything when you're not even being open to that because you're trying to make sure your pockets are aligned.
Exactly.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Now, unfortunately, we were at odds too much, so I just said, all right, you got it, and I'm out, right? But the one regret that I have is that I wasn't more patient because a lot of those people that knew me and wanted me to try and make some change within the company and stuff like that, they were let down. And so that's why I always say it's important to have patience because as a young black professional, sometimes it's not just always about you, right?
Right.
If you do care about the generation behind you, you have to factor in other people as well.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As a black professional, though, at what point do we say, well, I'm tired of waiting? Because if you think about other groups, other racial and ethnic groups, they're not waiting. They're like, okay, well, if this isn't happening, I'm going to make it move. I'm going to make something shake. I'm going to go talk to so-and-so. I'm going to do this. And then it's almost like the expectation is we have to wait. Do what you got to do.
I think it's important that we work together.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
That definitely goes into the waiting, not knowing when to go. As black people, we need to work together. You know, as people of color, we need to work together as others do. You know, there's a lot that we can learn from each other's experiences, and not feel the pressures of having to do it alone. I know for me, that's how I feel a lot of the time. Like, I'm a suffer in silence type.
Right.
So I have to be super transparent about how I'm feeling or what I need because you'll never know if I don't tell you.
Yeah.
You know, things will look great, you know, so, and I think there are a lot of people like that. But also just creating your own opportunities, you know. There's nothing that I want to do that I'm not doing right now. Sure. And if you take that aspect that I have the power to change my circumstances, you're able to not only shape things for you, but the people around you.
Right.
Well, that's deep.
So
I need to tweet that. I feel you, bro.
But so in technology, you know, you have these where you do these boot camps or you go to these schools for like 6 months or so. They guarantee you a job making $80K in like 3 months after you graduate the program. So I was looking at some of them. Some of them, they was like, okay, well, we'll do this, but you got to pay $20,000 up front. Or we'll teach you, help you find a job, but you're going to give us 10% of your paycheck for the first 3 years you're there.
Is this like coding?
It's whatever. But majority is coding.
Right.
But for me, I tried coding once. I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
You said 10%. That's like tithes and offering. That go right. Damn, 10%.
Is this going to God?
Right. What y'all doing with this? Yeah.
So I found a program. It was like, okay, we'll teach you what you need to know. We will get you a job starting here. If you don't get a job starting here within 8 months, then you don't have to pay us back.
Okay.
Or if you do, you'll just pay it back. It's like maybe $2 something a month out of your check. But we're guaranteed you're going to be making
At
X
least
amount.
get something, right.
So I was like, okay, you know what? It's free. I got nothing else to lose. I did it. And I was like, okay, all right. Bring on the $80,000 jobs.
Yeah.
It took 8 months for me to land a basic IT job. And then I was like, I can't keep going through this. I don't want to wait 8 months in between jobs.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
Right.
And in this position that I'm in now, I want more money.
I feel you.
But since the company is so small, there's really no way for me to advance. So what I've done is I've talked to them. I was like, hey, let's create this position. And I will be the perfect fit for this. So
Sure.
And you can pay me twice what I make.
Right. Bro, you hit on a great topic, and that's just, I feel like sometimes as a young black professional, you damn near got to be an Avenger. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
But everybody else around you is just average. Like,
Basic.
what school did you go to, and what job did you have or internship before this? Like, I feel like you have to be you have to work 3 times as hard as everyone else just to get to where you're going or what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
But I commend you on that, bro, because sometimes you just have to be open and be like, look, y'all not seeing this. You know what I mean? Like, this is a void. This is what we definitely need to do.
Yeah.
First 3 years of being in this new company, I've made a name for myself. Anytime anybody needs help, they come, where's Nigel? Where's Nigel?
Right, they look
Quite frankly, I hate it.
Yeah, no.
But you know what? You know what? And this is a main thing that my mom taught me when I was younger, bro. Like, every week, right, I just have a open tab. And certain things that I accomplished or did for other people, I just started notating it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's very important. Regardless of you plan on being at a job long enough, you can just use that as leverage when it's time for you to sit down and talk about your actual salary. You see what I'm saying? Because you can be like, yeah, I feel like I need this. And they'll be like, okay, well, why do you think that? And you can pull your notes right out. Look, April, I did this. May, I did this. June, I did that. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's undisputed, right? And the people can, you know what I'm saying? They can say what they want. Right. You have the emails. But if you're not doing it, bro, I would definitely say to any young black professional, but especially you, notate the certain things that you do so they can see exactly what you did when it's time to talk about your salary.
I'll definitely do that.
For sure,
That's great advice.
Being a young black professional isn't always easy. You know what I mean? You have to be strategic and be patient at times, you know, and it's important for you to try and make change within so you can make change on the outside. You know what I mean? So make sure that y'all always keep that in mind and, you know, try and do your best because it doesn't only influence us, but the generation behind us as well. You know?
Oh man, it seems like you trying to wrap it up. Where you drink at?
Y'all was dropping some jams, bro, so I was just sipping and listening. You know what I mean?
Everybody except for Shawn cheers because he ain't got none of this country.
Maybe married, cause where I come from, the girl you choose decide your ceremony. Whether black or in white, it's up to her, so choose wisely, or choose wisely. I'm so up right now, I'm living life.
On the jet, with the set and the overlays, we fly direct. Low on funds, I need some bread. Management, he's sitting that. Book the show, flip the bread. Thank you, Niz, replenished it. That's the biz, we finish it.
If it's live, we'll be going up, up, up. 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 We'll be going. What is passion without fire and desire?